Guys, today we're talking about down payments. So, down payments I get asked about a lot when talking about real estate. Down payments can definitely vary and can make or break if you're going to buy a property or not, for sure. Now, I'm going to talk about three types of loans and the down payments that they have. And also, I'm going to talk about closing costs real quick and a first-time homebuyer grant. There are multiple first-time homebuyer grants out right now, but I'm just going to talk about the PHFA first-time homebuyer KFIT grant because that's just the one I'm most familiar with and the one that I see a lot of my clients use. Now, back to down payment. Number one, FHA. So FHA's down payment is 3.5% of the purchase price. So on a $200,000 house, that's going to be $7,000 for the down payment. Now, remember, on top of all these down payments, you're going to have closing costs too. In PA, I would predict you're going to have about between 4 and 5% of the purchase price that is going to equal the down payment. So, for example, on a $200,000 house, I would put, $8,000 to $10,000, have that ready for closing costs as well. And you can get that reduced with seller's assist, which is where you ask the seller to pay down some of your closing costs for you, and that gets taken care of at the settlement table. For example, you could put an offer on a property, a $300,000 house, and I want to offer $300,000, and I want the seller to pay for $5,000 of my closing costs. So, for example, say if you owe, instead of $20,000 at settlement, you'll owe $15,000 at settlement. Now, seller's assist can only pay down the closing costs. It can't pay down any of the down payment. Just to get that out of the way real quick, conventional loans. So it does matter if you're a first-time home buyer or not, and there's different conventional loan programs, but you can get as low as a 3% down payment for a conventional loan. Conventional loans are very common in this market. I think FHA loans may be the most common, but conventional are right behind them. Now, the third type of loan I'm going to talk about is VA loans. VA loans, I've done a lot of videos on VA loans. They're great loans serving our veterans as they should. 0% down, and the seller can, again, cover closing costs. So as of that, you can really get into a home for almost really no money out of pocket, which is amazing. And now to talk about the grant programs real quick. And I want to do a separate video on all these topics I'm covering right now, but I wanted to do a general video to cover all of these so you don't have to go back and watch all these videos to learn about this. There is a PHFA KFIT grant program out right now, and it's designed for first-time home buyers. There's a few qualifications for it. I know one of them is you have to have at least a 660 credit score, and you have to fit within certain income limits. You have to make under a certain amount, and that is based, if I remember correctly, off of your household family size. And they give you 5% of your purchase price towards your down payment and closing costs. It can go towards either one of those. So, for example, we got it from my brother. He bought a house for $285,000, if I remember. But to make the math simple, if you round it up to $300,000, that's $15,000 towards your down payment and closing costs from the government. That's an amazing program. Again, there's a few qualifications, but if you can get that, that's gold. That is just such gold. Free money. I don't know how you're passing that up. I don't know how you won't try your best to take advantage of that.